Morning guys, it's about 7:20 in the morning. It's only just got light because we're later in the year now. October, 2nd of October today. Slept so good last night, I think I needed it. Bit of a sore throat this morning, but that's a bit of a given, I think. But nice to get a really good night's sleep. The bird noise is really pretty this morning, the sound of it. There is, however, a road not too far away. I can hear a highway. But we found a really great camp spot last night. I couldn't really film too much because the rain was hammering down. We didn't have much time to get the tent and gear set up before we then needed to meet back at the kind of base camp where Paul was going to brief us on today's plans and what we achieved yesterday. Quite a tough day's paddling. We did about, I think it was 25k in the end. Overall this trip's 70 miles, so just over 100 kilometres. And we got, I'd say, about a good quarter of it done yesterday. A few sort of small rapids, but it was good to get familiar with just manoeuvring the boat and just reading the water a bit better really. The boat I've got obviously is the 15-foot 6 Prospector, and it's nice to be able to get familiar with moving that, because for me that's a fairly big boat, but it means that I can put loads of gear in there. I've made it slightly bow light, just for when the big rapids, whenever we get to the bigger rapids, and then I can hopefully skip over them, but it just gives me a bit more manoeuvrability and I can turn the boat a bit quicker. But I found it really good to paddle, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Yesterday we had about an hour of fairly heavy rain. Today's forecast is similar, where it starts off sort of overcast. It's light this morning, and I think there's some rain showers later, but that's what you get. We're travelling 20-30k a day, maybe 40k, and you're going to get into some bad weather at some point, especially as we're still in basically part of the mountain range. We're still fairly high up above sea level, and we get a bit of relief rainfall as well. Slept really well, happy with the tent, happy with the tarp above it. That was needed yesterday, so I bought the tarp. For when it was raining, I could set up the tent in the dry, still have an area to put all my gear and not get soaked. I wasn't too happy with the GoPro where I mounted it yesterday with the clamps, so I'm going to put a bit more head cam stuff on today. This is one stunning river. I highly recommend anyone who's not paddled the River Spey. I've only paddled like a quarter of it, and it is amazing. end of day 2 on our paddle down the river Spey, and we found an awesome little campsite here. Lovely and wild, a bit more wild than the previous one. You can see the river's just down here below me, and I'm only about 20 yards away, if that, maybe 10 yards away, meters-ish, from that river, so nice tranquil nice tranquil sound to go to sleep to, hopefully. It's not raining today. Well, it has rained, but it's not raining while we're setting up camp, which is nice, because yesterday was a bit of fun setting up in the rain, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't get any rain. I'm going to do a similar setup, fly up the tarp first, tie that down, that way if it does rain I've got, you know, plenty of space and dry space to set up the tent. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's been a great day's paddling, really good. We've seen lots of different sights and nature. We've seen lovely old bridges, much more rapids going down this one as well, which is a good experience and builds up the confidence. I feel a lot more confident now in the boat doing solo stuff and just rapids in general, but I know we've got a few bigger ones tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. So you have this lovely glade with the sun reflecting on it. Beautiful. Mossy trees. Long grass. And then the river. Not a bad view. Not a bad day at the office. Fairly fast flowing here as well. Wouldn't want to fall in. Looks like a few ash trees above me, amongst other species which I don't know what the hell they are, but I can definitely see ash. So I'm going to tie up probably between that tree there and that tree there. So tent here, tarp there, bedroom view here. So essentially I've got 2 bags on this trip. I've got my kind of canoe pack, dry bag here, and a simple day rack here, and that's actually got a dry sack inside. So in this one I keep 2 dry sacks, about 10 litres, which will have my sleeping gear in and my spare sets of clothes, like a ditch kit essentially. So if I get wet or I capsize and get wet, I've got an instant spare set of clothes in there. There's also other bits like a bit of food and snacks and things like that. This one has my camera gear inside the dry bag, my kind of eating utensils, wash kit and things like that, first aid kit, bushcraft knife, that's in here. The rest of the gear we don't really need, because obviously it's an expedition trip and Paul's leading it, so he's essentially got the rest of the big cooking gear, and yeah, he's kind of all set up for that, bigger tarps for communal area and things like that. So really it's a fairly lightweight trip for 3 days. This is the same, pretty much the same as what I took to the 5-day Lake District canoe one, so that was one of Paul's as well. I'll put a link to that in the description below. The other thing I do have actually is, there's one here, sorry. This dry sack has the tent and the tarp in it as well, so yeah, just handy having that in an extra one. I did have the tent just in its own stuff sack, but if that goes in the water then the tent's completely soaked. The tarp is already in a stuff sack, so that didn't matter, but that just keeps it all together. It looks fairly over the top and fairly heavy for general kind of camping purposes, but we have a canoe, you know, I've got a 15-foot canoe, so it can take all that gear really. There's all the space to take it. We're not doing any portages on this trip either, so loads of space for extra gear. Oh yeah, also I have spare boots, get this, in an Amazon bag, so it's not really completely sealed, not ideal, but you know Amazon always comes in this plastic packaging generally, so it's a bit annoying really, but I finally used that plastic rather than it being wasted. Sleeping gear's in here, so I'm not going to get the rest of that out. That's just my boots to get changed into, because my canoe shoes are pretty wet. And then here, that's the tent essentially, so it's just a standard tent dry sack. That had definitely got wet. And then the tarps, you guys know the tarp is already in there, so that's going to be dry anyway, but it's double bagged, so it's definitely going to stay dry. So I'll put the tarp up first and then the tent. So in this bag is all my dry clothes, and then this one is the sleeping gear, so sleeping bag, sleeping pad and pillow. I'm going to quickly switch into the dry clothes now and then set up the sleeping bag and pillow later, because it's not raining, so it's not a necessity. Right, so this is camp. Got the tarp set up, tied up to that tree by the river, which was pretty sketchy, tying that knot. And then it's the little tied here with a stick, which I'm hanging a coat on, and camelback water bag at the moment. And that's tied out down here somewhere. And then I'm just using this ridgeline below, turn it up, ridgeline below the main tarp ridgeline, just to hang gear. What a view. So here just got the dry trousers hanging up there, and then buoyancy aid there. So setup is looking good. Chuffed with it. Even if we do get rain tonight, I'm going to be well protected, and at least if I roll out of my tent, I'll float back down to the river mouth anyway and probably finish before the other guys. So one of the first things I do when I've come in from the canoe trip, obviously when I've set up the tent and everything like that, well, Bird City, I don't know what they are, rooks? Anyway, yeah, one of the first things I do once all the camp's set up is get into dry clothes and also get a hat on, because temperatures, it's beginning of October, but temperatures can drop really fast from about 6 PM onwards, or basically when the sun sets, especially up here in Scotland. So get the hat on, stop losing the heat, reduce that chance of heat being lost from my body, and it makes a big difference, to be honest, and especially when I'm feeling a bit rough like I am now, it's good to have a hat on, just to keep warm. It's sensible things. Sometimes I have a little snood thing as well around my neck to stop any draft going in, but I'm not sure we're going to get a frost tonight. It's fairly clear though. You guys can't really see anyway. Right, Paul's going to be cooking up a storm, as he usually does on these expeditions, so let's go back to camp, and the base camp that is, and see what he's cooking up for the meal tonight. And this tends to be what Paul does in the evenings. Well, not pour hot water over the fire, but he gets a coffee going. He takes control of camp, he sets up these tarps with Ray. The group get under there, he gets warm drinks, warm food, he cooks up a great feast. And then he, then we all talk stories. Well, Ray talks stories and we all listen for a bit. But this is great. This is what it's all about on these expeditions. Group, community, learning from each other, having a laugh in this amazing setting. That's Paul's set up there. Tent and tarp. And he's right by the river as well. What I will say is that you will get looked after on these courses, either the Lake District one, or even this one, or Paul does Canadian trips as well to Canada. But he also does his bushcraft courses and things like that. And trust me, you guys will be very, very well looked after. And you will almost certainly learn something. Morning guys, it was not the best of sleeps last night. Got a bit of a sore throat, bit of a blocked nose, not sure why, just must have got a cold somewhere before I came out here. Starting to feel the drag now, muscles are a bit sore, a little bit tired, a little bit lethargic, slower getting up in the morning. But anyway, we've got another probably 25k to do today, so got to get some energy in me, go get some breakfast. I can see that the fire is on. Okay, so camp's pretty much all packed up. We're going to head out onto the river now. Well, in about 20 minutes time. And yeah, looking forward to this day. Paul was telling me it's one of his favourite segments of the river, so hopefully I can do it justice on the GoPro. I'm not getting the big camera out on this when I'm on the river, because it's just the rapids make it too bumpy, and if it goes in, it really is game over. So I think we'll just go with the GoPro for now, and hopefully I can do it justice for you guys. Let's get going.
First thing, and I'll come back to it again right at the end. Have you had a look downstream from where you're launching? What have we got?
Fast.
It's fast. What else? Lots of rocks close in. What else is close in?
Trees.
Lots of overhanging trees. So it's really important how you get on the river here. You must get on facing upstream, because then as the nose peels out, it's going to take you out into mid-river. If you get in facing downstream, as you try to turn the boat to come away from the bank, the water will push you at the bank. So what's the critical thing? Face upstream. I doubt that there's much water coming in from the Arn. When it's that river drains the whole of the back of the Cairngorm, so when it really flows, it's bigger than this main river, and it comes up faster, drops faster as well. So the junction is quite interesting at that stage. Anyway, on past there. If I've got it right, yes I have. Very quickly afterwards, the river narrows, and that's the washing machine. Probably the biggest wave features on the river. But it's a very simple rapid. You come out into the middle of the river and you go down the middle. Simple as that, and enjoy the ride. If you tandem, if you take any water on board, keep a paddle on each side, don't cross deck or anything. You'll still be able to paddle to the side, and don't be in a rush to get to the side at the bottom. Then on down, no can do, or no can do, or we can do, and we'll get down to there, and there's the distilleries just above us. We start seeing distilleries alongside the river.
Just got through the washing machine. That was absolutely epic. Took quite a lot of water on board. You can only really rudder it, to be honest. That's all I was doing, holding on for dear life. And that second wave, you can see where the waves were meeting, just came straight over the bow of the boat. Got absolutely soaked, but absolutely so worth it. That was awesome. Really, really good. Nice bit of proper white water. Gonna have myself a little snack, and then on to the next rapid. It's a little kind of shrubs and plants. Trees, small trees, obviously. Lovely Scots pine trees over there. Big old, I don't know, spruce trees probably up the top there. Great mixture. Good time of year to be paddling as well. Not too cold, not like freezing. So I'm just walking back to the group because I've got a shot of the wash
or the washing machine. Gonna need a washing machine after that. Okay, so it's end of day 3, and as you can see it's starting to get dark. I'm using just a head torch for a camera light at the moment. We are at the next campsite. It was a pretty grueling day, but we had some awesome rapids. The washing machine was an interesting one, where I kind of took quite a lot of water over the bow of the boat. But it's all a learning experience, you know. Ray's giving tips every time you come down pretty much, and Paul's there as well, and you know, as he's coming down the rapids you can just watch his technique and mimic his as best you can. But to be honest, you only really learn when you go down the rapids yourself. And yeah, it's sort of every rapid, I've been finding that every rapid I go over I learn something new. So it's been well, given the amount of rapids on this river, I've learned a lot. Yeah, it's been a hell of an experience. This is our last night now at this camp. I set up the tent and tarp pretty much exactly the same as I have been. I just didn't need to film it because you guys have seen it now. And luckily it's not raining. It's going to be a clear night, so I'm guessing frosts, potentially. If not, fairly cold, 0 to, well, 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. And yeah, just trying to reflect on this trip. It's intense, you know, because you're paddling non-stop and then you get a sort of maybe a 40-minute, half-hour, 40-minute lunch break. Quick stop, back in the canoes, and then you paddle. Solid days paddling. And then you've got to set up the camp before dark. So it's all under a kind of time constraint, which is different, but good, because it's putting me in that situation where, you know, I need to adapt. But it's beautiful here. Scotland is beautiful. It's about my 4th time coming to Scotland in the last year and a half. I've been a lot with my wife Em, and yeah, just I'm going to keep coming back here. It really is beautiful. Already going to start planning the next trip. So, plan is pretty much finish unpacking. I'm almost there, and then head to camp, help them out with firewood and things like that. Good morning guys, it's now beginning of day 4. Conditions are slightly different today. I feel like the wind's picked up a lot more. We've had some rain overnight, so I'm glad I've got the tarp up really with the tent underneath. A little bit of a chill in the air. Beautiful though, still just absolutely stunning. I just took a walk down to the end of this camp spot that we're at, just to try and take a couple of minutes or so, just to try and take it all in, because with these kind of moving trips where you're constantly setting up, you know, paddling all day, setting up camp just before dark, trying to get camp set up before dark, and obviously making the film as well, it can be quite tricky and it can be quite hard to try and take it all in, you know. I think maybe because today's the last day, I've actually taken the time to myself really to try and take it all in, because it's been frantic trying to film and do all the other stuff as well. But it makes you realise how fortunate I am to be able to do something like this. It's just awesome. Yeah, just so good when I reflect back now on everything we've done. Hopefully what I've got with the canoe footage has done it justice, but I think it's one of those cases where you need to come on the trip or paddle the river to experience it yourself, because it really is special, really special. I would definitely recommend it to anyone looking to paddle develop their paddling skills and also paddle in Scotland, which is just an incredible country. I should come here more. It's about 12 hours, 11-12 hour drive for me to get up here. So there's no excuse really to get up here a bit more often. Anyway, today is the last day. We're going to be paddling to the sea. I'm told it's a very special paddle. I've charged all the cameras up, I'm ready to go. Going to get some breakfast with the group. And then, just reflect on what has been an awesome trip. Here's camp set up, because you guys didn't see me set it up last night. Essentially, obviously tent as normal, gear hanging line or gear line through the middle where I'm just drying things out. And what I did is classic kind of flying tarp, but I've just dropped this corner. It's loosened up a bit in the wind now. Just dropped this one corner so that the rain all filters down away from my door, which is here. So entrance to the tent there, and then drop that corner away so the entrance doesn't get any sort of drips or wet as much. And I've got canoe gear stored around the outside. Yeah, just let's look at this woodland. Ignoring the tripod, obviously. God, I love Britain. Awesome.
It's about paddling. Ray? 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 Double right. Just wait there, Bob.
Wow, those cliffs look awesome. How red they are. Gnarly fallen down tree there as well. Scenery's changing so much around here now that we're coming towards the coast. So you can tell these are fishing stretches for the famous River Spey, because of these give it away. Rod holders, rod rests, and a nice bench. Often there's lodges that you'll pass, but also down here there's another giveaway. It says beat 3 and beat 4. Don't know what it's like in your country where you guys are, where you're watching this, but all across Britain, when fishing rivers, you have sections of rivers which are owned by either fishing clubs or privately owned, and they'll be split into sections, and those sections are called beats. So you'll have beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, things like that, of a particular area of river. But you can see how the landscape has changed now. If you look, there's a lot more kind of rocks and shingle beaches, much larger beaches as we come down to the coast. And also you can see there's no mountains. You know, you can tell we're getting lower down just by that, really. The river's still pretty wide as we head down towards the estuary. We're just having a quick lunch break now. Whoa. Well, Paul, we've just finished an epic 4-day expedition down the River Spey. My first multi-day river trip. I've had an absolute blast. I'm tired, feeling a little bit rough, but what a feeling opening up and seeing the sea on that last bend. I just wanted to thank you, first of all, for an incredible trip. But what I guess I really wanted to know, and what maybe my subscribers would like to know, is out of all the rivers in Britain, what makes you choose the Spey for this expedition?
That's a good question, Mike. For your subscribers who are maybe not in the UK, remember the UK is quite small for starters. We're not in the wilds of Canada or the US. You know, so the UK is quite small, and we get a lot of rain, but it tends to get to the sea quite quickly. You know, a lot of our rivers are quite steep and they're very rain dependent. But there are some longer rivers by our standards which are really good kind of canoe touring rivers, and the Spey is one of them. It's not the only one, but it is one of them. And one of the things that makes it particularly special is that you start sort of in the shadow of the Cairngorms Mountains.
Yeah.
So you're literally right up in the hills, near to some of the UK's highest mountains, near to sort of Northern Europe's, one of Northern Europe's only sort of subarctic plateaus rather, that's sort of in this part of the world. And so the environment here is quite special in its own right. It's kind of the westernmost outpost of the sort of northern forest as well. You know, we've got Scots pine,
Yeah.
you know, we've got spruce and birch, and it's kind of like the stuff that you get in Scandinavia. So you've kind of got that sort of slightly wilder feel to start off with, the mountains and the forests and stuff here. You're starting on a lovely loch, and then you're heading downstream through very varied terrain. It's not that steep to start off with, as you remember, but then once you get to Granton, it really goes downhill. It's like 200 meters drop, so what's that, 600 feet drop from there to the sea over a couple of days. So there's lots of rapids. So it's not the longest river in the world, it's about 100 kilometers from here to the sea, you know, 60 odd, 70 miles. But the intensity of the experience that you get in that, as you kind of know, and I'm sure that it'll come out in your film, the intensity of the experience that you get is fantastic. The quality of the training that you get effectively, you know, we give you some training, but then it's about applying it on the river and you putting all that into practice, and the opportunities you've got to put all those things into practice in similar but different rapids that aren't going to take you beyond what you're capable of. You know, it's all grade 1, grade 2, there's some chunky grade 2 stuff on there, which makes you really move and work, and then you've got this fantastic environment that you're doing it through as well. And it starts off mountainous and there's forests, it goes flat and then it's steep downhill, you're going through some lovely river valleys, and then you get towards the end and you've got this outwash plain at the end effectively, which is kind of unique in the UK. So the combination is just such high quality from beginning to end, and you literally pop out at the sea. So you start in the mountains, you finish at the sea. It's a complete river and it's a complete journey. And you said epic. I mean, it is. I mean, we've only been gone 4 days.
Yeah, it's
but
weird.
It feels a lot longer.
Yeah,
because of the quality of the experience.
And I mean, I've obviously earlier in the year, this summer, I did the Lake District, the kind of beginners course with you, and I was a bit apprehensive coming onto this because reading up about it, you look online and then you see pictures, and you know, often you'll see ones of people in the rapids, and then you suddenly think, oh, am I experienced enough to be doing this? You know, originally before that lakes course, I thought, oh yeah, I could tackle any river in the UK, it'd be fine. But actually, I needed that core foundation. So that course was actually really unique in itself, that first one I did, to build upon my skills. But it's like you said, you learn so fast out here with your skills. You're constantly developing, and it was almost just tweaking them. And the tuition from yourself and Ray. So Ray, for you guys who don't know, has been a fantastic coach. As we're going down the river, you may not have seen it on the GoPro, but as we're going down the river, Ray's constantly giving you tips and, you know, teaching you how to adjust your skills so that you're comfortable in a situation. And it really is in the situation. You'll be going down a rapid and he's giving you hand signals and tips. So it's a very hands-on course in that sense. Where can people find out information about perhaps doing this adventure?
I mean, so frontierbushcraft.com. If you look on the expeditions there, River Spey is on there, or just search on Frontier Bushcraft River Spey trip. And I think we've got a few videos here and there as well, so people can kind of get a bit of a taste. And of course, they've got a lot more from your video as well, so I'm sure they'll get a good idea. Guys, if you're looking into getting into canoeing to begin with, I'd highly recommend the Lake District course that Paul does. If you're looking for a river trip, I think I'm going to struggle to beat this now. Certainly in the UK. It's a good one. I've set the bar really high for the first river trip here. So you have. I mean, you know, if you know Ray Goodwin and myself, I mean, we do trips in Canada quite regularly. You know, we do various sort of work in the UK, and we're always looking forward to coming back to this river. I mean, I can't I've lost count of the number of times that I've paddled the Spey, and I'm paddling it again next week.
I can't believe that you're doing it next week. There's 2 days time pulls off again to do another 4 days, isn't it?
But
It's
it's
unbelievable.
but it's not something I don't look forward to. It's such high quality. It's something we always look forward to coming back to. So
Well,
yeah,
I've
you
got
have
to
set
say,
the bar high,
thank
definitely.
you.
No,
I
my
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you. It's
Mike.
been a great adventure, and perhaps, guys, if you want to share in what I've experienced, because what I recorded is a fraction of what you actually feel. Canoeing is actually one of the hardest pieces of filming I've done. It's not easy, especially this move fast, you know.
Yeah.
You're there, you can't, bear in mind it's dark at what, 6:30, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, it is this time of year. We're past the equinox now, so
it's fast. You've got to get there, unpack, and you've got to find a rhythm. And when I'm filming on top of that, I would say it's hard.
It is hard. Yeah, I mean, and it's real. You know, it's like Mike's just done a real journey. It isn't something that's contrived to make a film.
No.
He's done his best. I'm really interested to see.
Yeah, it's hard.
But
Hopefully
I'm
it
really
came out okay.
Yeah, but he's done his best to film around us making a real journey, and it is difficult because you're travelling all day, and then you're into the woods, and unlike the luxury of having a lot of time to set up a camp and film it all and film the knots and everything, you've got to do it in real time. You've got to get firewood, you've got to get the dinner on, we've got to get rested for the next day, and
it's intense.
It is.
It's intense, but I appreciate it. It's been an adventure, and hopefully we'll get together and do some more videos again in the future.
It'll be an absolute pleasure, Mike.
Cheers, thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you
Cheers.
guys for watching this. Do leave a comment below if you enjoyed it, what you enjoyed about it, and we'll see you soon in the next episode on TA Outdoors.
Take care.
See ya.